I'm engaged. How do I get married? I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, we'll explore a new corner of the wedding planning so you can prepare for your I-dos without the stress. From budgeting to booking vendors to day of drama, let's talk smart wedding planning. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married? With, the amazing Kevin and August are your hosts. We're here to serve and do what we do. But with us today, we have the amazing Adam from Adam's Point of View and Suguitan. I said Adam's last name right because we practiced that before we got on there. But Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks again for having me on here. I'm pretty stoked to finally be a part of your guys' amazing podcast that I see all over line. So a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised here in the Bay Area, East Bay to be exact. And I found my love of photography a few years after high school. I was still kind of unsure of where I wanted to go after high school. I thought I kind of knew, but found out I was totally wrong. And I found my love for photography after going to school at Academy of Art and kind of just testing it out there. From there, a family friend of mine who is still very popular in the business and in the industry, Red Eye Collection, that's pretty much like my mentor. He's kind of the one that took me under his wing and just kind of showed me the way and gave me suggestions on, things to do and things not to do and where to price myself. So that's a little bit about myself. And I'm just, like I said, I'm really excited to be here.
All right, wait. And before we get going, I want to know, what did you want to be before you figured it out?
Yeah, so right after high school, even like in my senior year, I was actually in the cadet program at a local police department here in Hayward, California. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. I mean, not that I wouldn't want to do it now. It's just I have my business and I love my schedule. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do, be a part of somewhat in the EMS field. All of my family is in EMS. So I thought that's what I wanted to do.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to be a farmer, so I'm in the way different direction, and that's a whole other podcast. Yeah, whole nother podcast. I was the president of the Future Farmers of America in high school, so yeah, totally different direction.
180.
Yeah. We could still get you there, Kevin.
No, I'm okay. So
farming life's not for him.
Yes.
All right, and then today we have Adam on the pod because we're going to be talking about you're paying for more than a photo. So kind of convincing you, the couples who are listening, that when you hire a professional, you're getting them more than just a photo. And it's really important to hire a professional. So, and this is going to be such a terrible joke, but Adam's point of view, we'd like to get your point of view on the subject.
Nice.
So
That's right, Adam's point of view. Yeah, for sure. So I think that's a great topic. This is like the most important thing that I stress to clients when we have consultations. I tell them we get the inquiries. The inquiries are there. It's not really that we're worried about. For us, for longevity and staying in this industry for as long as we can, we want to enjoy our job. So what we always tell our clients is, when we're arriving to your hotel room, we don't want to be considered as, oh, there's that guy that we had a consultation with like 8 months ago. Instead, when we show up, we want that energy of like, Adam's here, the team is here, it's go time. And that's really what I try to, I guess, push on to my clients and potential clients is, it's more about just a job for us. Like I said, we want to enjoy what we do. And we found out and learned, through the many years that we've been doing this, that the more of a relationship that we have, the more things that we have in common, it just makes it a lot easier for everybody. And that goes for the photographer as well as the couple. We want them to feel comfortable. We want to feel almost like we're just one of the friends showing up at their wedding, except this time I have a camera in my hand.
And I think that translates into taking photos, right? Because if they're more comfortable with you, they'll probably be a lot more comfortable on camera as well.
Absolutely. I always give this example. I don't know if it's corny or not, or if it even makes sense, but I always use this example. And I always tell them like, hey, you ever been in public and yet you're waiting for a stranger to walk by, and you and your partner kind of pushing each other. You're like, ask that person to take the picture, right?
Yeah.
You hand them over your phone or your camera or whatever. They take it, they walk away. You look at it, and you're just like, let's ask one more person, and it's just like, I feel like that's a huge way of how we look at things. It's like, when you look at that picture, you're like, we want to retake it because we didn't feel comfortable in it. That doesn't look like me. Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exactly what we try to do, is we want you to feel comfortable so that every picture you take looks like you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I always tell people.
And it's funny too, because like you focused on the relationship part of it, and I think that's really, like, you got to be a professional, you got to do what you do, but it's also important to have that relationship, because I just worked a wedding this summer with a bride, and I had a good relationship, and she came up to me partway through the wedding, and she goes, "Kevin, can I ask you a favor?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and thinking she needed a drink or like something. She goes, "I need you to keep the photographer away from me. I can't stand him anymore." And I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, weird request, but but you're saying like she should have never hired that photographer. You know what I'm saying? Because if their
100%.
if their personalities don't mesh, it's going to show in the photos, because she's now, every time that person had a camera in her face, she's not going to be herself and comfortable. So I think it's smart that you have that. So talk us and with that said, now, like, talk us through like the planning process with you, like, how, now we've hired Adam. What's it like? What are some of the things? Do we do an engagement session? Are there multiple times we meet? What's it like, Adam?
Yeah, for sure. So basically the whole onboarding process, as soon as you hire, you put down that 50% deposit, and you guys are securing yourself in our calendar for the upcoming season. We're in constant communication, whether it's through text, whether it's through email, whether it's through DMs, through like social media. We're always in connection. Now, kind of going backwards a little bit, going back to that consultation, one thing that I try to not necessarily convince, but try to educate my clients on the importance of an engagement shoot. Now, the reason why we do that is it kind of gives us another opportunity to meet actually in person, because I do a lot of my consultations through meeting like virtually, just like this. And when we have that engagement shoot and they do book one, it just really adds to the whole relationship building that I'm doing with this client. It allows them to get in front of the camera, try and get a little bit more comfortable. I tell this to everybody, nobody's comfortable in front of a camera. Unless you're like a celebrity and this is your job, nobody is comfortable in front of the camera. An example would be myself. I mean, I do this for a living. And my wife and I, we did an engagement shoot in Hawaii. And during the engagement shoot, I just felt I had my Ricky Bobby moment. I was like, what do I do with my hands? And then the photographer just looks at me and she's like, Adam, you gotta just relax. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I just gotta relax. So, I mean, little things like that, that's kind of what I like to do to build that relationship with my clients. So kind of going back to your question, I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place here.
No, question, please.
Yeah, basically to answer your question, the onboarding process, we're in constant communication, like I said, through DMs, texts, emails, phone calls, whatever it may be. And we also, we try to get those engagement shoots in. That really, for us, that really plays a big role in building that relationship with the client. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, it's sharing Pinterest boards with the bride, looking at inspiration of kind of what they want, what their vision is. And, I mean, we have, like I said, constant communication. I would say the biggest emails are booking about halfway through. And then when it becomes like a month or 2 months before, the emails definitely are coming a little bit more often than not.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned Hawaii, which made me think in comfort is I hate having my photo taken, but we have a timeshare in Maui and we go, every year, and we have a photographer that we hire there, Scott, and we use him and I'm comfortable, and it's fun. He gets the best photos of me because I'm comfortable.
You feel comfortable.
Yeah.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah. That's how comfortable, that's how the relationship got. But go on. Sorry.
And I was saying, like, with the engagement shoot, it's almost like, yes, of course, you're investing in the engagement shoot itself, but it's almost like you're investing more into your actual wedding day. Because like you said, if you have that first meeting, you've met Adam in person, you're really comfortable with him, then that's definitely going to translate to the day of too, because you already have that relationship and you're just going to feel way more comfortable on your wedding day.
Absolutely. Yeah. We love, I mean, and there's times where clients don't book engagement shoots, and that's fine. It's not like the end all be all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you could put me in front of somebody that I don't know, and we're going to be best friends in the next 10 minutes.
That's definitely your personality, Adam.
Yeah.
You're very easy to talk to.
Thank you. It comes very naturally, and I think it has a lot to do with just like the way I was raised. My dad, he actually had his own mobile DJ business. And I mean, that's kind of how I got comfortable, just kind of taking control of like the crowd, for example. When you're a DJ, you kind of have to take risks sometimes and to see if that song works. And if it works, you keep using it. And if it doesn't work, then you try something again. So I think just being able to have that confidence instilled in me at such a young age, it really translated over into photography.
So smart.
Yeah, I think it's a great skill to have in the hospitality business in general. I mean, we're all party people. We all gotta, get along with everyone.
It's customer service, I think, at the end of the day. It's customer service.
Hospitality.
Yeah.
Hospitality.
Okay, so getting back to you're paying for more than a photo. I really would like to know, as hiring a professional, hiring Adam, how do you handle unexpected challenges the day of, like bad weather or schedule changes? How do you pivot, but also keep the couple cool, calm, and collected?
For sure. I think what really plays a huge role in this answer would be my experience. I feel like, just starting my business, I remember always hearing, man, don't you get so nervous? Like, it's somebody's wedding. Like, Bridezilla was like a thing. And, for me, I was just like, I mean, it's not really that hard. You just gotta have to maintain everybody's, I guess, baseline. Just make sure everybody's kind of cool, calm, and collected. And for experience wise, the reason why I say that's such a big part of this answer is because I could take a good picture and it could be like the ugliest room. It doesn't really matter the backdrop. The backdrop definitely will play a huge role in it, which is great being a Bay Area photographer because there's a bunch of beautiful, beautiful venues here. But really, it's just a matter of making sure everybody stays calm, finding some good lighting, and getting a good picture. It's really not that difficult.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how do you, on the day of, guide the couple through the day? Like, what's kind of the process for you in helping them get through?
Yeah. So what we'll kind of do is I'll have the timeline, whether it's created by myself and the couple, or if it's created by the venue. Sometimes, a lot of the times with specific venues, they'll kind of create like a good timeline, a general timeline that everyone can go off of. And that's typically what we do. So I'll just kind of have the timeline up on my phone, on my Apple Watch, whatever it may be. And I'll just kind of reference that as we're kind of moving through the day. I'll kind of be there. I always tell them, kind of just snap your fingers and I appear. Like, I've always kind of got like my eagle eye on the couple, because you never know when that family member or that guest maybe showed up a little late and they want to get a quick picture with them. So I've always kind of got my eye on them. But in terms of like how I'm communicating with them on the day of the wedding, it's really just staying on track with the timeline, just guiding them through, making sure, hey, we got through this pretty early. If you want to enjoy some more time with your guests later, maybe we can kind of just keep rolling through the events or through the traditions that you have during your reception. But it's pretty much just referencing the timeline.
Yeah, and I think it helps too with you. And when I used to be a planner, I felt like this really helped, was just having a calm energy. If you get all like riled up and nervous, that's only going to, reflect off onto the couple too. And I feel like, I know we've worked together a few times. You definitely have a very calm energy. And I think that really helps if there is something that unexpected comes up, because it's like, okay, everything's going to be okay. We can pivot. We can still make this happen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I feel like, when things come up at a wedding day, I kind of just look at my couple and I'm like, welcome to your wedding day. This is totally normal. Like, we planned for this. Like, don't worry. There's option B, there's option C. We can still get through this.
I always feel like as a wedding professionals on the other side, we're the only ones that know what's supposed to be happening. And as long as the guests are having fun, then oh well. If something comes up and we have to pivot, or I always say we're the greatest at improv. That's what we do. So, sometimes it's
we
like
are improv. Yeah, we do.
Right? We really do.
100%.
Yeah, and it's having the people that are not going to be like stressed out, or and that's what it's about. It's just we're there to make everyone relax and have fun, and we're really the only ones that know what's supposed to be happening. So
exactly. It's like nobody's going to notice. Don't worry. We can always move this around. We can push this back. It's fine. Everything's fine. I mean, this is something that I do a lot during consultations and during like my final week call. It's really just that it's honestly, we've already gone through the timeline. I've already communicated with their coordinator at this point. My last call with them, it's really just to kind of go through everything, manage their expectations, and just make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time. During that last call too, I'm also telling them, hey, if something goes wrong, it's okay. This is part of it. We're going to just kind of roll with the punches. What's done is done. So let's just do our best to enjoy the day, because before you know it, it's 9:30 and you got an hour and a half left.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So one question that I just thought of is that when we're going through it, we always have that like one bridesmaid or a groomsman that thinks they're in charge, so how do you handle those situations that come up where we have to, not put that person in check, but it's, it's about the couple's wedding, not their wedding.
Well, what I usually do is I take my camera holsters off and I put it on that person and I say, hey, you take pictures for the rest of the day. I'm kidding.
No, that's a great idea though.
Yeah. I mean, I jokingly, I say that. I always make like a joke like, oh, what do you guys need me for? I honestly, myself, I try to be very like funny, and I feel like that's my love language, is like making you laugh. Right. So
me too.
For me, it's just like, okay, I could tell this guy's kind of, or this bridesmaid or this mom or this dad or whoever it may be is kind of like in the way a little bit. Honestly, I just tell them, hey, look, I got this. You can take take the day off. You guys aren't working today. I got this. And I kind of just go at it with like a comical sense. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of lightens everybody up. I kind of I always jokingly say this, and I know this is going to sound kind of like, but like, I'm just kind of patting myself on the back, but I always do this.
No.
I always go, guys, don't worry. I'm really, really good at this. like little jokes like that. And then they're just kind of like, oh, okay, I guess he is good at this. He's got the straps. He's got the cameras out. Maybe he is good at this. So I just try to become their friend and just convince them that don't worry, I will take care of this. And honestly, we're kind of at this time where like you could still say something and they just hear one thing and it just goes out the other ear. If that's the case, and it's like maybe the older relative that just has the iPad during the ceremony. Yeah. Honestly, there's nothing I can really do at that point. I just let them have their moment, and I'm not going to be the one to tell them. I mean, if I can, and they're kind of blocking the bride, I'll kind of ask them to move. But other than that, I try to communicate with the couple how important it is for nobody to be in the way. But if they're in the way, they're in the way. It's fine.
It's funny. I told one of the bridesmaid one time, she kept like just trying to tell me how to do my job. And I finally looked at her. I said, I don't know if I would have made it through this wedding without you, because this is literally my first wedding, and your advice is, and so she was like, oh, you're so welcome. Like she thought I was serious.
Serious.
But,
yeah, she thought you were serious.
100%. I left her feeling like she helped me through my very first wedding. And meanwhile, it was just she had no idea.
I mean, I feel like that's just good blanket advice for couples too. Like, just relax. Like, you hired me for a reason, right? Like, you trusted me out of everyone. You picked me to be here on your day. Just trust that I'm going to deliver and just relax. It's okay. You made it. Yeah. You've done all the planning. You've got to the day. Now just enjoy.
Well, and it's a good point, because they forget that sometimes, and that's when they don't enjoy it and they don't have fun. And it's like this last summer, I had a bride that she had a copy of the wedding planner's timeline on the sweetheart table.
Oh my goodness.
Girl, no.
No, right? And and she had a little pencil that she kept checking things off, and a type A personality. But I finally looked at her and I said, "I'm taking this from you." And she goes, No. I go, "You're not going to have fun today." And I literally took it from her and I said, "You can't look at this anymore." I go, "That's why you hired all of us." And I go, "I'm sorry, you're done." And so she was like kind of like mad at me at the beginning, but at the end she came up and gave me a big hug and she goes, "Thank you. You made me relax. Like you made me relax, like she wasn't relaxing. She goes, "But I'm always the one in my family." And she was a corporate like event planner. So she was always the one planning events at work, that she's like, "I'm always the one that has to make sure it all goes, that she can enjoy her." And finally she was able to let go and enjoy herself. So that's what it's all about. So.
For sure. The last thing I tell all of my clients is just like, honestly, the big day's tomorrow. All you have to do is show up. I'm going to take care of everything else. Just show up. I'll take care of everything else. And that's kind of the attitude that we take going forward.
Yeah. And we'll point you in the right direction.
Turn your brain off.
Yeah.
What's done is done at that point. Yeah, exactly. Smile.
I get it though. I feel like I'm also very type A, and I think about that a lot. Like, oh, here am I giving this advice to couples, but I'm like, on my wedding, I feel like I'm going to be the same way.
No, for sure. I mean, I empathize with them. I'm very empathetic about it, and it's just like, you got to try and enjoy it because it's going to go by so quick. It goes by so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife I was just gonna say, my wife hates going to a wedding with me as a guest because I'm just sitting around watching.
You're like looking around. You're like,
no, I'm just like,
over there.
Yep. Why are we not doing this? We should have been doing this by now. Yeah. Especially if it's at a place that I work at regularly.
Oh gosh.
She's like, "Go get a drink and shut up." No, it's hard. So how do we handle like paparazzi at the wedding? All the people with their cell phones, and then sometimes even you have family members with, lenses as expensive as your lenses at these weddings. How do we handle the paparazzi?
I do my best to communicate this with the couple beforehand. I say, "Hey, are you okay with people taking pictures?" If your answer is no, we don't want people to take pictures, I have them communicate that with the officiant. That way they can make that announcement that there has been professional video and professional photo, and that no one needs to worry. They're going to get all of the photos. I usually communicate that with the couple just so that they can make the general announcement beforehand. Now, if they're doing it during the wedding and I can tell them to just nicely sit down or to just kind of stay out of the way, then I'll do that. But if it's like somebody in the middle, I can't get to them, I'm not going to be the guy that's like, hey, sit down, get down. Like, no, I will not do that. It used to, I would say, bother me more because I was such an artist and I was like, why do you have to be here doing that? But honestly, now I'm just like, I get it. Some of the older generation. Yeah, they just want to take pictures with it. Honestly, every time I see them do that and I don't say anything, all I can say in my head is, what are you going to do with that video? When are you going to watch that again? Like, seriously, when are you going to watch them? I mean, maybe you might watch it every day, but if you really aren't going to watch it again, why do you have to record it?
I get it. It's like going to a concert and you're just recording every song. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm never going to watch this again in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had a wedding where the dad kept taking out his cell phone, and I'm like, he had to fill up his cell phone because it was just video, and he'd walk around and he was videotaping everyone that was there, and it was like, man, what is he going to do with all this?
Yeah, it happens all the time. You guys see it. And, this is it's a regular thing. We make the announcement when possible, but I'm not security. I'm just a photographer, If it's, like I said, if I can do it in like a nice, courteous way, and like maybe they're walking, like, the recessional is happening and they're walking out the aisle and there's a person like just to my right or left, I'll just, I'm not going to push them, but I'll just, hey, slide in a little bit, or just put your camera down. Like, your camera doesn't need to be like this in the aisle, you know what I mean? It could just be right here and you could just record like that.
Yeah, let me get that one.
Adam, I wanted to ask you too, because I feel like back when I was planning weddings, I feel like more often than not, we saw the unplugged ceremony sign. Do you ever not see that sign anymore, or is that pretty much just at every event at this point?
I actually see it sometimes sometimes I don't see them at events. So it's not at every event. It is I would say 80% announced at most of my weddings. However, some people just don't get it, and that's fine.
It's
They
the
don't
world
get
we
in my
live in with
way.
social media. Yeah, no, everyone's got to document everywhere they've been now and what they're doing, and it's the world we live in. And sometimes you either got to embrace it or fight it. You know, it's not worth the fight sometimes. So
I know at my wedding, I told everybody it was unplugged, and a majority of them were listening. So can't be too bad.
Your wedding was beautiful. The shots were awesome. So
thank you so much. It was so fun.
Can you speak on that a little bit? What it was like to get married working in the industry, or like being photographed when you're normally the one doing it?
You know, I tell this to the videographer because, and even to the photographers, it's like, I see our work all the time. We work together all the time. It's like, oh, they're playing their same day edit, or oh, they're playing this. Like, I've seen these before. It's great. You know, it's great work. But when it was my turn and I was watching the video and I was like, holy smokes, that's me right there. I was like, whoa, like that's my family. Those are my friends. I kind of just lost it a little bit, like, you know, emotionally and just like physically. I was just like, where is he? I'm getting a kill. This is amazing. Like that's literally how I felt watching it. But I think for myself, one thing that I did have to constantly remind myself of was just like, everything is already kind of in place. I don't need to be, I wasn't going to print the timeline and have it on my sweetheart table. God, no. But I was kind of just like looking around, like, okay, like, I guess we should do this now. We should do this. And then a couple of my friends came up to me and they're just like, I know what you're doing.
I can see it.
Yeah. Like you need to just here, have another drink, you know? And I'm just like, okay. Yeah. Give me another drink. Okay, cool. So I kind of loosened up and I stopped caring after that and just enjoyed it. But it was, it was so fun.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay. So a couple more questions for you. So, and maybe you could probably speak to this a little bit. I know you were talking about a little bit with your engagement shoot, like, you know, not knowing what to do with your hands. So how do you guide your couples to get photos that feel real and not too posed? Do you have any tips to give couples when they're getting ready for those shoots?
Absolutely. So, the tips I always give them before, like pre-shoot, is just to show up. We don't have to do like 15 different wardrobe changes. Like that's kind of a thing of the past. Really, what engagement shoots are used for are obviously the obvious things would be save the dates, website invitations, but it's also about just like enjoying each other, having fun pictures to look at, and letting the photographer be your storyteller. So when I tell them that, you know, I tell them, dress comfortably, dress really, you know, nice. If that's the look you guys want to go for, like if it's formal, I would say it's like 50-50 whether they want to do formal or more casual. And I just tell them, let me take care of everything. All you guys have to do is literally show up. Like I can only mention that earlier, but that's something that I really harp on to them. It's just like the hard part is done. Just show up and I'm going to take care of everything. Now, in terms of like actual posing and like how to get people to feel comfortable, one thing that I've learned, I guess, through experience is one way to get people to feel comfortable is to have them do regular things that they would do together. Nobody stands with each other and puts their forehead to forehead and just chills like that all day. Like maybe like if you're having one of those days, but for the most part, nobody's just at home like kissing their wife's hand or like telling her a funny joke and she's laughing. Like that's not everyday things, right? Maybe in perfect world, but you know, that's not everyday things. So everyday things would be, let's hold hands and let's walk. People do that all the time. Let's just give each other a big hug and just like squeeze each other really tight. Like those are things that we always do. So that's one thing that I always like to kind of go to when we start an engagement shoot, just to kind of loosen them up. I usually just start real easy. Guys, just hold hands, walk towards me. And for most people, psychologically, they're thinking like, that's it? Just walk towards you? And it kind of allows them to, most of the time,
I can do that.
To kind of put their guard down a little bit, because most of the time, if it's not like a friend's wedding and it's just like a random client that found me through maybe one of my preferred venues, we don't really have that relationship yet. So when you show up, you're kind of like, I can feel like maybe I've been talking with the bride the most. I can feel the groom kind of sizing me up a little bit. Like, who's this guy? Who's this guy that's been talking to my fiance all these days? and they keep texting pictures back and forth. Like, who is this guy? And then I just kill him with a couple funny jokes. I maybe connect by looking at his outfit. And I'm like, oh, those are really nice shoes or nice pants or nice boots, or, hey, that's a really nice watch. Like, there's ways that I can learn to connect with them to make them feel more comfortable. So those are kind of some of the things that I do. Can't give you away all my secrets.
Yeah.
No, that's right. We don't want them all. Is there like, without giving away your secrets, like being, a Bay Area photographer, there's so many places to go. Is there a few of your, like, what are some of the iconic photo, spots that you take couples to?
For sure. So I always ask them, hey, what's the vibe we're going for? And I would say majority of the time it's the bride that kind of has the vision. So I'll ask her.
Of course.
And the vision is either, do you want woodsy? Do you want coastal? Do you want really formal, big, nice beams be inside of the building? Maybe we can go to San Francisco City Hall, or maybe we can go to like Palace of Fine Arts. Do you want to do something that kind of captures more of like we're in the Bay Area? Because there have been times where people are visiting and they want to go to these iconic spots and take pictures. So if that's the case, we can go like somewhere like San Francisco, downtown, Golden Gate Bridge. We can go to places like that. But personally, like doing this a long time, I've been to all of these places so many times that I like to try and connect it to the couples a little bit more. So I always ask them, before I give them suggestions and recommendations on locations, I say, hey, like, what are some things you and your partner like to do? Like, what do you guys like to do for fun? A great example would be, I had a couple, we love gaming. We love arcades. And I was like, I think I have an idea. Tell me more. And they're like, we're just foodies. We love to eat pizza. We love to just go around, try different stuff. And in my head, I was like, I have a great idea. So this is when I pitched the idea to them. Let's go to the Emporium in San Francisco. It's like this huge arcade. And after that, we can just walk down the street. There's a pizza place down there and we'll get pizza. And that's kind of the way that I like to shape my engagement sessions. Yes, I could take you to the beautiful garden. Yes, I can take you to the Golden Gate Bridge. I can do all of those things. But for me, engagement shoots are really more about telling your guys' story. So that way you can show people that through your invitation, save the dates, decor at your reception. I want it to make sense, so that's kind of my take on it. If I had to say my favorite places, I really love Filoli Gardens. Which is in Woodside. It's like one of my favorite places. Right next door to that is the Pulgas Water Temple. I've been using both of those places very often as of lately, since I am a member there now. Shout out Filoli.
Oh.
And let's see, San Francisco in general is great. I mean, it's hard to miss there. And if you like woodsy, I got some really cool woodsy places up in the hills, like in the Oakland Hills, and even some other really nice gardens, kind of like in the peninsula area as well. But I mean, I could say great places all day, but I think we all know where those are. It's really more about the story, No,
and the one that like resonated with me most was when you said the video game and the pizza place, because I remember doing a wedding this last summer where like you see, like you walk through the entry hall of the place and you see all the photos that the couple puts out, and there was this cutest photo of this couple, and they were like at their every Saturday morning they go to the same little diner to and they went and had their photos taken there. And I was like, it was really cute because like you said, it's more about the couple, less about the spot. So
my friend did that too. She's her and her boyfriend or fiance or husband now. God, they are really big downtown Livermore people. So that's where they did their engagement shoot. Like they went to Indian Bakery, they went to the fountains, like they went to all their favorite spots, and it really was like them. Like it felt like, okay, yeah, that totally makes sense that you'd be there taking those photos.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it just helps with the storytelling aspect. From a photographer's standpoint, we always want to do the best with storytelling. So that's why I always opt to tell me some places and things that you like first before I just give you all the best places to go. Because I like going to new places too. Yeah.
So we talked about, like, I hate having my photo taken. So how do you make them feel comfortable? The joke and the, like, what's going to make me relax to have my photo taken?
Yeah, I mean, I just try to relate to them on a personal level, and it starts not when we start taking pictures, but it starts literally when we meet in like the parking lot and we start walking. Like I've already started because I know I have like 15 seconds or like 1 minute max to like get this person to think like I'm not some weirdo and that you're gonna have a great time with me. So I'm just hitting all the tricks. I'm like, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to connect. Where are you guys from? How long have you guys been dating? I mean, things that we didn't cover in the initial call, right? Maybe try and joke with them a little bit and just trying to relate to them as much as possible. How was traffic? That's a nice car you guys pulled up in. These are just the things that I'm trying to just break that guard down within like the first minute. So that way, as soon as we start taking pictures, they feel comfortable. And it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I have to really work at it and get them to feel comfortable. And that's when I just immediately go straight to hold hands and just walk. And we're just gonna wait. Maybe I've done set engagement sessions where literally we're just walking around like the whole place together, and they have a great time. I mean, it really helps loosen them up. But I mean, that's really the only way that I can say I get them to feel comfortable.
And how do we handle pets?
I love pets. I mean, I've had all different types of stuff. I've had obviously dogs. I've had puppies. I've had somebody show up with a backpack with a cat in the backpack with like the bubble in the back.
Yeah,
And we even took the cat out and everything. I mean, I had somebody bring a pet snake one time. And I was okay, well, that you guys can stay right there. Make sure we bring a handler for the snake to give it to afterwards. But I mean, handling animals, the best way to do it when possible is I always tell the couple to bring somebody along with them to kind of tend to the animal. I've done many shoots where I am the one taking pictures and tending to the animal. I got the dog's leash wrapped around my waist. I've done that many times. And if the dog isn't huge, it's totally fine. But it works best when there's a separate person, a friend or a sibling or something like that comes along. Plus, when they do bring an animal along, I notice they do feel a lot more calm. And especially if they bring that extra person, because then it just feels like we're just all hanging out together. So that also makes the couple feel exactly.
That's a good point. Yeah. I feel like Kevin was kind of low-key interviewing you. He needs some new headshots, and I know he said he would. Them to have like more of a fun vibe, so he wanted something different.
I can come by the office and do something there.
No, my headshot is old. I need a new one. I had more hair back in my headshot. So one of these days, Adam.
Oh my gosh, Adam, I just noticed too, your cup, it's like a camera lens. That's really cool.
And I was like trying to hide it because I didn't want to be like the photographer with the camera lens, but this was the only like mug that I could find in the kitchen, so I ended up using it.
That's perfect.
My wife did have from Emily in Paris, she did have her phone case as the camera.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, I've seen that many. I've seen every camera accessory you could possibly dream of.
You probably get them as birthday gifts a lot, huh?
I get them for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Penny's New Year's gifts, everything gifts.
All right. We're wrapping up. So we got to do our tips. The one tip I took away, and I'll start it off, is you just got to hire someone that you're going to feel comfortable with. I think that's the biggest thing. It just like thinking back of all the experiences I've had, it's just, you got to have someone that you're comfortable with. Because if you don't have someone you're comfortable with, it's going to be a miserable day for you. So that'd be my tip.
For sure. That's a great tip. I like that.
I was going to say, I feel like that's kind of been the theme of the whole episode today. Like, because I was going to say something else, but it's very much in the same breath of like, I know, Adam, you said this a few times, like, you just got to show up and I will do the rest for you. And that kind of is the same breath as comfortability.
Yeah, but when he says that, it makes me like, all right, I can do that. Like,
that's easy.
Yeah.
You're like,
exactly.
I try and like, not to use this term, but like, I just try to dumb it down as much as I can for them because wedding planning is so much mentally, and it's such a mental stressor, which it shouldn't be. That's why you hire a wedding planner, but inevitably it just always is. There's always that one thing you want to like make sure that person's okay. Right. So I think,
Well, and
it's just, that's my train of thought there.
No, That's fine. But I was just going to say, it's just having the right professionals that are going to guide you through the day, and then, enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, what's the point? Are we, like, you're dealing with family drama, all that stuff, all leading up to it. You got to at least have fun at the end.
Yeah.
So
Enjoy it because it's going to be over really, really quick. If I had to say
don't blink.
yeah, no, seriously. Like before you know it, it's like, are we doing toast already? Like it's bouquet and garter and cake cutting after this, and we're done. So it's like before you know it, literally, don't blink. It's gonna be over quick. But I would say for my tip, I think what you both said was definitely really, really good, and you guys took my answer. But I have a backup one. I'm just kidding.
That's why I go first. That's why I go first.
And then so
no, it's okay. I have another one. I had a backup. There's always a plan, option B. So for me, I would say to all clients out there, whoever you hire for your wedding photographer, heavily consider getting an engagement shoot just so you can establish that relationship with your photographer. It really will help pay off in the long run, and I truly believe that. So clients, book your engagement shoots with your photographers.
That's a great tip.
So.
Tell them Adam said so.
Tell them Adam said so.
That's a good slogan. So
I like that.
Adam said so. Adam's point of view.
Yeah.
I think I just started a new LLC.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Adam. We ask everyone what's their favorite part of a wedding, and since you just got married, I'm kind of curious as to what your favorite part was.
For sure.
It could be. How about this? Favorite part of a wedding and favorite part of your wedding day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My
putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, for sure. I want to start with my wedding day because I just can't stop thinking about it. But my favorite part of my wedding day was watching my now wife, walk down the aisle. And I had my buddy bring my camera up because I just couldn't help myself but have a camera with me. But I didn't carry it because I didn't want people to be like, oh, God, he's working on his wedding day. But I had one of my best men bring it up. I kind of hit it on his shoulder. And that was my favorite part, having my wife walk down the aisle and me snapping a couple pictures.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had to do it. And it's cool because I even told the videographer who is my friend and the photographers who are also my friends, I told them, I was like, hey, I'm going to snap a couple pictures. Can you get some shots of me so I can just see it? And I just saw those pictures to kind of relive the moment. And I was like, nailed it.
That's so special.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, everyone kept asking me. I did it because I knew everyone was going to keep asking me, how did you find a photographer for your wedding? You weren't going to shoot it yourself? And my answer was, I was the photographer at my wedding. I got the most important picture.
You did. In an angle that it's hard to get, I would imagine.
Exactly. I mean, how could anyone ever stand where the groom is? You never could stand there.
Yeah. No.
But
nope, exactly.
Let's see. My favorite part at a regular, I guess, at a wedding where I'm photographing.
Just a normal one, normal.
Yeah.
Not Adam's wedding.
I didn't mean it like that. Okay, let's see. At a wedding where I'm working, let's see. My favorite thing to see there. I think I would have to say the groom's reaction to seeing the bride walking down. That's that one kind of hits home a little bit for me. I kind of get a little. I'm not going to sit here and say I get teary eyed every time, but there are a few times where the hairs on my arms kind of stick up, and the hair in the back right here starts sticking up, and you can kind of feel it. That's my favorite part, is being able to feel the emotions that these people are or that my clients are going through. I think that's one of my favorite parts. Is that's what makes me. When I feel that, I then remember that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I really love that feeling. So seeing, I think watching the groom see his bride or his partner walk down that aisle, that's definitely one of my
that's awesome.
favorite moments.
No, it's funny because and it'll be interesting because I know you just had a little. Is it a son?
Yes, sir. I do have a son.
Yes. So ever since I had kids, my favorite part changed too. So it's as you go through different parts of your life, things are different parts of the wedding are going to mean something different to you because you can relate to it, I think. So yeah.
I would say before that, my favorite part might have been when the couple has really good desserts and I get to raid the dessert part before I leave.
We keep getting that answer. It's always the cake, the sweets.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the cake. The cake is okay to me. It's when they have the bonus desserts.
Oh, Yes, the good stuff.
I only eat it if they allow me to, though. So I won't ever take
Good
it unless
answer.
they
Good
tell me.
answer.
Yeah. But those are my favorites at weddings, you guys.
Perfect. All right, Adam, we can't thank you enough for being here and helping
Thank you so much for having
all
me.
of us. Of course. And I think we have more topics that we're going to bring you back as we get into 2025. But how do we get a hold of you? How do couples find you?
Yeah. So you guys can find me at my website, www.adamspointofview.com. All of my contact information is through there. If you're looking for me on any other social platforms, my handle is also Adam's Point of View. So find me on there, guys. Reach out and book an engagement shoot because Adam said so.
That's right. I love that. We're gonna make T-shirts and everything. So all right,
Adam said so.
Yeah.
All right, folks, and we'll have all this in the show notes, and then that way you'll be able to get a hold of Adam really easily. So, Adam, we can't thank you enough for being with August and I today on Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married? And we look forward to having you back on another episode. So thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Sound Event Services. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like us to cover, or if you are struggling with your wedding planning. Please be sure to submit a question at podcast@fantasysound.com. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're a fan, we'd love if you would subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. And to everyone listening, happy wedding planning.